Welcome back to the Dive Hub, and whilst the dive boat is over there at Jackadan, I'm going to have a chat this morning about free Divemaster internships. So what do we really get with a free Divemaster internship program? Well, I've run them. I've run them badly. I've run them well. I've run them for free, and I've also run them for money. And I'm here to tell you that the free model is probably costing you a lot more than you think. If you're a dive shop, it might be costing you your standards and your reputation. If you're an intern, it might be costing you your self-respect and dignity. And if you're the industry, it's probably costing you a whole lot more. But let's start at the very root of this thing. It always starts the same way. Join us in paradise. Live the dream. Become a dive master for free. Just pay your paddy fees and help out around the shop. It sounds like a sweet deal, and if you're 22, skint and tired of the office job, it feels like you've been handed the golden ticket. Except you haven't. You've been handed a broom and a wetsuit that smells like regret. Now listen, I am not preaching from some high horse here. I've run free Divemaster internships. I've welcomed wide-eyed backpackers and told myself it's a fair trade. They get training, I get help. Win-win, right? But here's what actually happens. I get unpaid staff who don't know what they're doing, who need supervision, and who can't legally work, but sort of are. And they gradually realize they're not learning to be dive professionals. They're just cleaning gear and loading boats. And if I'm really maximizing my return from these people, I'm putting them in positions which they probably shouldn't be in. They're neither qualified nor experienced. Meanwhile, my paying guests, they start asking, is this kid actually qualified to guide us? And the answer is often, well, not yet, but they will be, eventually, which is exactly the confidence boost they want before a 30-meter wall dive, right? Here's the bit that most operators don't want to admit. Free interns don't save you money. They cost you in standards, in time, and most importantly, in your reputation. And ultimately, they'll also cost you in your bookings. Unless your business model is indeed just to give away your time, energy, and reputation for free. You're spending hours training people who vanish the moment they're certified. You're risking TripAdvisor reviews because the DM wasn't actually a DM. You're confusing your own team, who now don't know whether they're supposed to be mentors or managers or mates. And in some countries, you're walking a tightrope over labour law violations. Because let's be honest, if someone's doing regular work, unpaid, for the benefit of your business, we have a word for that. Now, I'm not going to say it's slavery, but let's just say plenty of nations built their economies on voluntary, unpaid labour, and history hasn't been kind to that model. One of the most common justifications that I hear, though, is, yeah, but some of them, they stay on and they become instructors. Some of them are amazing. Sure, some do. But you don't want to build your business around maybes. You're gambling your professional image, your professional reputation on someone who paid nothing, has no skin in the game, and might be leaving in 3 weeks to follow that hot Swedish dive buddy to Colombia. You want loyalty. You want reliability. You want someone who's going to turn up on time every day and give a crap. That person probably paid for their training, because if it costs them something, it means something to them. We've all heard the horror stories. The dive operator over the dinner table talking about the incompetence of one intern. She's been here for months and still can't last longer than 30 minutes. Or the guy that's always late and forgets his fins at least once a week. We've heard it from the interns too. The weeks and weeks of working at the shop with very little actual training. We know that this model is all about, and we know how ineffective it is. And yet, Here's what you're actually signaling when you offer a free internship to those clients you really want to retain. You're saying to them, we're cheap, we need help, and more importantly, we're going to cut corners if it thinks it's going to save us money. And guess what? Your paying customers, they're picking up on that. They see the chaos, they hear the mumbled briefings, they notice when the intern is the one helping them get into the gear instead of a professional. Now, this isn't about being snobby, it's about clarity. If you're charging full price for a premium experience, then why is the face of your business someone who's still figuring out how to clear a mask? Now, I'm not anti-intern. I run a paid intern program myself, where the course content and the activity is purely focused on developing those individuals to work in the industry. And I get paid for my time. I get paid for my commitment, and I get paid for my mentorship. I am anti-unstructured, unpaid, undervalued internships. I'm against getting the free labor to clean my car, rake my yard, or wash out all the rental wetsuits. And there is a better way. Charge for the course. Train them properly. Set expectations. Give them mentorship, not menial tasks. And make sure every interaction with guests is handled by someone who represents the standard you want your brand to be known for. If you must bring unpaid helpers, then separate them from the customer-facing roles. Have clarity, have boundaries, and most of all, have pride. Because the moment you start selling the dream and delivering dish duty, you're not running a dive center. You're running a cult with tanks. And if you're someone watching this thinking, but I just want to be a dive master, I can't afford to pay, isn't this my only way in? Here's the truth. You are worth more than free labor. If a shop values you, they'll train you properly. If they're not charging you, they're using you. And if you're scrubbing floors for a certification, that's not a dive master program. That's an expensive housekeeping course with bad coffee and no union. Don't let the dream blind you to the reality. If you're going to go pro with people who treat you like the pro you want to be. But if you do want to get some cheap or free diving in and don't mind the offset, then make hay and make sure it works for you. Make sure you set your own boundaries and don't countenance doing things that you're not comfortable with. The model is already exploitative, and some unscrupulous operators may try to push the limits. As when you're already exploiting someone, what's the harm with a little more? In summary, the dive industry doesn't need more free interns though. It needs professionalism. It needs more pride and more operators willing to say, we don't want to do it that way anymore, because I've done it the other way. I've made the mistakes, I've told myself the lies, and now I've seen what it costs. I won't go back. If you're a dive shop running free internships, maybe it's time that you took that step back and actually looked at the numbers. Are they really adding the value you thought they were versus the actual cost to your brand and your business? Thanks very much for joining me on this potentially contentious subject. If you've enjoyed it, splash down on the subscribe button for more content that's about how we run effective dive shops out here in the islands. Keep diving, stay frosty, guys. Thanks a lot.